The Yingluck cabinet today approves a record high budget of 435.54 billion baht as part of its rice pledging program, which will take place between October this year and February 2012. Of this amount, 410 billion baht will come from borrowings, which will be used to purchase paddy from the farmers nationwide. The government will also allocate 25.54 billion in management costs for the rice pledging scheme. Under this scheme, the government will purchase jasmine paddy from the farmers at 20,000 baht per ton and white rice at 15,000 baht per ton. The rice pledging scheme is one of the key policies of the Yingluck government, apart from the minimum wage of 300 baht, oil price subsidies, and corporate income tax cut. Over the next 4 years, the rice pledging scheme, if it is implemented as promised, will cost the country 1.7 trillion baht in additional debt. And now on the line with us is Kun Gopsak Sapawasut, the former Deputy Prime Minister of the Democrat-led government. Good afternoon.
สวัสดีค่ะคุณกอบศักดิ์
สวัสดีครับ
Kun Gopsak, can you tell me if the government will borrow 410 billion to finance the rice pledging scheme, how is it going to do that? And to what extent is Thailand's fiscal position will be hurt?
Well, this is a very challenging policy for the government. It will be a very first time that any Thai government ever do something like this. The total amount that they will use is in the neighborhood of 44 billion baht, 440 billion baht, and there would be two portions of it. There would be what we call the off-book, which is the off-budget account. That is amount to 410 billion baht. This will be handled by the BAAC, the Bank of Agricultural and Corporation. In that regard, they split into two portions. 90 billion, they would use the Thakasor own funding, and the balance of 310 billion baht will be the Minister of Finance would have to help borrowing it and provide that to funding to the Thakasor so that the Thakasor bank can refinancing it or use it as a fund to purchase 25 million of the paddy. So that's how it goes. So for this amount, 410 billion baht, there's a cost to it. So the government will set aside from the budget, this will be on the book from the budget, 15 billion baht as the interest for the borrowing cost. So this is something that you paid off immediately, 15 billion as a borrowing cost. Has nothing to do with the farmers. It's just the operating cost. Because the government has no money. They have to borrow. So they're borrowing off account. So we as a taxpayer would have no idea what's going on there. It doesn't have to go through the parliamentary approval process. But the 26 billion baht, which is the operating fund for the project, 15 billion is earmarked for the interest alone. And another 10 billion for the rice miller and for the warehousing. Because the government decided to take over the business, the whole thing. So they're buying about 25 million of paddies, for the whole period, the whole year. So they have to stock it somewhere. They have to process it from the paddy to white rice. So the cost of processing and keep stocking in the warehouse will be another 10 billion. And then you have another billion for other expenses.
Who will be really benefiting from this scheme, Kun Gopsak?
Well, definitely the rice miller and the warehouse, because that's 10 billion for them. It's a sure bet. They don't have to go do any business. They just do work for the government now. the farmers will be benefit. They will get benefit out of the off budget. This is very tricky here, because the 410 billion baht, nobody knows. Not today, not tomorrow, not 6 months from now. It would take about a year from now whether we will get the 410 billion back plus interest, or we will lose money. It all depends on how government plays on this one.
And how will the government be spending this rice pledging scheme to the village fund and other subsidies that they have promised affect Thailand's inflation? And are you concerned about runaway inflation?
I am very concerned because there will be some new money. See, every year for this business alone,
yes,
we're talking about not 410 billion, but 40% less.
Yes.
Because we're not buying price at 15,000. The market price only about 9,000 or 10,000. So you're talking about fresh funding, new money, about 40% of that. That would be just only 1 year now. That would be about 160 billion. Plus, government plan to borrow. I probably think they would do off-book account again. Another 80 billion for the village fund. There's about 80 billion village altogether, 1 million each. So that would be 80 billion. So, 160 plus 80, that is 240 billion baht, injected into the system. I mean, this is just fresh money, and not counting about any other stuff that they're paying with it. So very, very concerned about runaway inflation. Definitely the price of rice alone will play some figure, will increase some inflation figure, the core inflation. But then once the rice goes up, everything goes up too. It's scary.
Well, thank you so much, Kun Kopsak, for joining our program and sharing your perspective.
Yeah, we have to keep our fingers crossed now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.